Fine, it's recording. Okay. So until now, we have created lot of setups. So we have created all the basic setups that are required for a legal entity. So can somebody repeat what all we created quickly? One by one steps, if you remember. Anyone? All the topics that we have discussed one by one.
Entity creation.
Okay. Yes, we have created an entity.
Fiscal periods.
Fiscal
Fiscal
calendar.
calendar. Yeah, ledger
Okay.
calendars.
And ledger calendar. Okay.
Currency.
Generation of number sequences.
Okay. Generation of number sequence is one topic in between. Okay. Then
Currency exchange rates.
currencies first, currency exchange rates next, then importing currency exchange rates. Yes. Then chart of accounts. Then
Yes.
main accounts within chart of accounts. Then financial dimensions. Then account structure in yesterday's class. So these are the few topics that we discussed so far. Okay. So today let us go for a setup where we can link all these things that we have created until now to a legal entity. So this is really important. So far we have created a legal entity and we have created different calendars, currencies, currency exchange rate types, exchange rates within that exchange rate type, and account structure as well as accounts and everything. But we did not link it to any legal entity yet. So this step that we do today is how we can link all these things to a legal entity. So I'll show you that now. Okay. So this is also called as ledger setup actually. Usually it is called as ledger setup, this concept or this process. So for ledger setup, I'll go to the environment. I did not open it yet. Okay. Sorry for that. It's taking some time to load. So I'll change my legal entity to MRF. It's compulsory that I have to change my legal entity to MRF. Sorry, here I change it. Now, to link all these configurations or setups, early setups that we have done until now to a legal entity, we have to be in that legal entity and then we have to go to general ledger. See here, go to general ledger. In general ledger, under ledger setup here, I have this menu called ledger. General ledger, ledger setup, ledger. You can see here. So if I click here on ledger, write down the navigation again, general ledger, ledger setup and ledger. Okay. So if I click here on ledger, I can see the name of the company. You can see the description, Madras Rubber Factory or MRF. So it is taking from legal entity names where we gave the legal entity name. Here in this page, there are certain compulsory fields. As you can see, whatever that is showing up in red color, marked in red color here, or bordered in red color, or compulsory things. So chart of accounts is one compulsory thing that you have to add. Fiscal calendar is one compulsory thing you have to add for a legal entity, and one currency at least an accounting currency. Okay. And these are the only three compulsory things that you have to add. So I'll go for this chart of accounts. So what is the chart of account that we have created for our legal entity? Anybody? Any idea?
MRF chart
MRF chart accounts.
Okay, thank you. MRF chart of accounts. So I'll search for MRF chart of accounts. It is here, MRF chart of accounts. So I'll select that MRF chart of accounts for my legal entity. Then Fiscal calendar. So we have created fiscal calendar for our legal entity, which is MRF fiscal calendar. So it is here, MRF fiscal calendar. I'll also add it here. Okay. Then another compulsory field I have here is currency. So I want to use an accounting currency for my legal entity. So accounting currency for a legal entity is always the local currency of that country wherein that company is located in. So it's not should not be the same currency, but whatever your client suggests to be the accounting currency for that legal entity, that you will give here. Okay, in view, keeping in view of this, then with that only you will actually prepare your exchange rates and exchange rate types and all. You will design your exchange rates because this is the base currency, right? So with this you should have all the exchange rates with other foreign currencies. So here select the accounting currency, whatever you want. You can select INR or you can select US dollar, anything. But once you have select this currency and do any transactions, you cannot change this currency once again. Accounting currency will remain like that. The same with reporting currency. We have discussed this concept of accounting and reporting, right? So before you make any transactions, you can come to this page and change anytime. Okay, tomorrow I don't post any transactions today. Tomorrow I can come back and change this. But after posting transactions, you cannot change it once again. Okay, that's one key point. Keep it in mind. So I'll select accounting currency as US dollar, and reporting currency also I can select as US dollar, or I can select different currency also. So let's go for euro, different where the reporting currency. Okay, my legal entity is located in US, but my parent company is located in Europe, somewhere in Europe. So I select reporting currency as euro in order to maintain my accounts in both accounting currency as well as reporting currency, two different currencies, US dollar as well as euro, both of them. Okay, then I can select the exchange rate type here. You can select an exchange rate type. So exchange rate type that we have created for our legal entity is MRF exchange rate type, right? MRF group. Here I'll select MRF. This is a old version of Dynamics. In the new version of Dynamics, actually you will have another field here. So here you have accounting currency exchange rate type and reporting currency exchange rate type. You have both. Okay, you can select both of them. So you can select same exchange rate type for both of them if you want. No problem. But if you want to maintain different exchange rate types for accounting currency and reporting currency, you can maintain. So that is not available in this environment. But if somebody is having latest environment, you can take a screenshot and paste it here. No problem. So that we have. Then we have budget exchange rate type. For budgeting purpose, as I told you, we can create lot of exchange rate types. For daily exchange rates, you can create one exchange rate type. For budgeting, you can create exchange rate type. So what happens in budget exchange rate type is you will have future exchange rates. Exchange rates that will be futuristic because you prepare your budget sheets in the view of future only, right? In the future exchange rate perspective. So for that case, you have your budget exchange rate type. I mean different exchange rate type here. So you have something called budget. You can keep it if you, or if you don't want, you can leave it. But during when you use budget entries or when you try to register any budget, so then it will take exchange rate from here. In case if you are doing budget registration in foreign currency, okay. Since my parent company is euro, right? If at all my budget allocation is also in euro, then it will take exchange rate from here. Other than that, it won't consider anything. So if you are doing normal budget registration in US dollar only, it won't consider it. No need of. So for that case, we have this budget exchange rates type. So these are the few things that are important to be. So I
JP,
JP, can you
given
repeat this
chart of
voice
budget
accounts,
voice
extension?
break. I think.
calendar. Okay, can you hear me now properly?
Yeah. Can you please repeat this
Okay,
budget exchange rate?
sure, definitely. So this budget exchange rate type is only for budget registrations. Okay, whenever you want to enter any budget into Dynamics in the budget module, then it considers this budget exchange rate type. That too, when you enter the budget registration in foreign currency. Okay, in case you are entering your budget registration in your local currency, which is US dollar or accounting currency only, then system won't consider any exchange rate because there is no need of exchange rate type, exchange rates, right? But if you are entering your budget registration in foreign currency, suppose if you are doing it in euro or any other foreign currency, then it will consider the exchange rates from here. because you will enter the budget for future in today on today's date. So, okay, then you will configure different exchange rates here, like futuristic exchange rates, something that you assume that exchange rates in future will be like this. So your budget will also fall according to that particular exchange rate in future. So in that way, you will prepare your exchange rates and you can give the budget exchange rate type here. You can create a separate exchange rate type like we have created for MRF. You can create something like budget. Sorry, something issue. Okay, so it's problem here. My keyboard is having issue. So I have it here. I can select this one, budget exchange rate type. In this, I can maintain different exchange rates for the same currencies which are here. I can maintain different exchange rates here. Some future exchange rates they might vary from, they might go up or down depending on the market situation, whatever we assume. So that's for this. Most of them, whoever use this foreign currency budget registration, then only they'll use this. Other than that, they don't use it. It's not compulsory. And you don't have to maintain reporting currency also. Reporting currency is also not compulsory. But if the requirement is like that, that they have to maintain both accounting and reporting currency, which are separate, so then you can select both accounting and reporting currency. Some clients does not need reporting also. They only run with one currency. That's all. I think Santosh sent the image from latest environment. We can see it. So this is how it is. Oh, it's loading. Yeah, you see here, there is another column for reporting currency exchange rate separately. If I click on edit, it will be enabled. Okay. So for accounting currency exchange rate, I have default. For reporting currency exchange rate, I don't have, I mean, not selected, but you can select one. Here, the accounting and reporting both are US dollar only, right? So then there is no need of reporting currency exchange rate type also, because both of the currencies are same, right? In case if you have different currencies, then you can give any different reporting currency exchange rate type. So it is compulsory in case if you have different currency. Whenever you are doing any foreign transaction, suppose you are doing any foreign currency transaction which is other than US dollar and euro. Suppose you are doing it in Australian dollar, then you should definitely have exchange rate between US dollar and Australian dollar as well as euro and Australian dollar. You should have exchange rate between both the currencies to Australian dollar. In the latest environment, the latest dynamics environment will work in that way. Okay, you should have different exchange rates. So each one for against that particular foreign currency. You have this concept of dual currency in dynamics. You can go through it in the document if you can. Okay. So clear about this linking chart of accounts, calendar and currencies. Everyone. If you're clear with this, we can also add account structures we have created yesterday. So we can also add account structures we have created yesterday. So for adding that, you can click on add here. Then you can see the list of account structures we have in our organization. So the ones that we have created yesterday are MRF profit and loss and MRF profit and balance sheet and MRF profit and loss, right? So I'll select balance sheet first, click on select. So it is asking me to add, yes, add. Okay, then MRF is MRF P&L. So I'll select MRF P&L, also add it and click on yes, add it here. So these two account structures are added to the added to the legal entity. So once you add a fiscal calendar here, system will give you this normal message saying that fiscal calendar has been updated. We recommend you to run the recalculate ledger period process. Normally, you know, ledger calendar, right? So I told you when we created this calendar, we were unable to see anything in the ledger calendar for this calendar. That's why I demonstrated or explained you through another calendar. But now since I have linked it to a legal entity here, I can see the ledger calendar also for this. So for that, I'll just click here on recalculate ledger periods so that the ledger periods will be recalculated. So it is taking on screen. I should have run it in the batch. Fine, it is recalculated. Now I can see the ledger calendar also from here for this calendar. So if I click here, ledger calendar, it will generally show me this one. So you see opening period, period 1, period 2 for MRF calendar, and you can see the legal entity name MRF here, and you can see period status is open and everything is set to all. I mean the user access is set to everyone. The same way for all periods here until, except for opening period. Opening period will always be in permanently closed status. And I mean the user module things and everything will be, you can manage to, you can change them if you want. So once you link a calendar to a legal entity, then only this ledger calendar will get activated. Suppose if I link the same calendar now to another legal entity, I can also see that legal entity name here under MRF. So we have seen that earlier when I demonstrated ledger calendar concept. I have seen a lot of legal entities for one calendar, wherein we have given mask conditions, changing the period status or changing the user access. We have done it. So once I link it, I link the calendar to the legal entity, then it gets activated. I mean the ledger calendar and the ledger calendar periods. So these things will get activated. So that's for that purpose we have these options here: recalculate ledger periods and ledger calendar. Okay, I'll save this. So this is the option that I was saying previously. Once you use this particular legal entity and make any transactions, you cannot change the chart of accounts. You cannot remove the chart of accounts and keep another chart of accounts. Okay, once you do any transaction, and once you do any transaction, you cannot change your currencies that you have configured here. Okay, but account structures can be changed. You can redesign your account structures, you can remove account structure, and you can again keep account structure. Okay, until now chart of accounts and account structure were also not having any link. Here in this page only chart of account is being linked with account structure. Okay, the accounts that we gave here, main accounts, so those main accounts I mean the same numbers are also selected as conditions here in account structure, right? So whenever we create any transactions, so the conditions from here will be applicable for the accounts that we have in the chart of accounts, so it will automatically link both of them. So suppose in case here you give 6-digit numbers for main accounts. Here in account structure you give 4-digit numbers for main account conditions. Then system will not read them or cannot identify the same numbers here in the main accounts, because the main account series is different and the main account series that you gave in the account structure will be different, right? Suppose it's loading. Here in this, if I give only 4 series rather than 6 series, system can't read the same main accounts in the chart of accounts. So you cannot do any transaction, or while you do any journals, you can't see any accounts because no valid accounts will be found in that particular chart of accounts. So your account structure configuration should be in such a way that the account sequences or this account code will be as same as the main accounts that codes that you have in chart of accounts. Okay, keep that point in mind as well, or else system will not read that main account. Suppose here I am using only one account structure. Suppose I am using an account structure P&L which is having accounts from 5 lakh to 9 lakh. Okay, 5 series to 9 series, and I don't have this balance sheet account structure at all here. Then you can only use accounts which starts from 5 series to 9 series for posting any transactions. The 1 series to 4 series will not be available for you for creating or posting any transactions, because you did not link that account structure here, which is having 1 series to 4 series validity or conditions. You only have 5 series to 9 series, right? So that accounts can only be used. Although you have the 1 series to 4 series accounts in the chart of accounts, you cannot use them without having them in the account structure. And account structure should be always active. Suppose this account structure balance sheet, which is holding the accounts from 1 series to 4 series, is inactive or is in draft status, you cannot use these accounts again for transactions. You should activate this and you should definitely link it to this particular legal entity if you have to use the accounts and conditions for dimensions within this account structure. Okay, so that is really important. Understood, guys? Until here, what we have discussed about currencies, calendar, chart of accounts on this. Remember the key points as well that I told you. Anyone, any doubts until here?
I have one question actually.
Yes, Bala.
You said that MRF, I mean, the chart of accounts cannot be changed again.
Hmm.
So why would there arise a situation, when we will be feeling like we need to change chart of accounts?
I mean, they don't add chart of accounts with that much recklessness that they have to change it once again.
Okay,
But
okay.
there will be situations when they create a new legal entity, per suppose, and I mean, they due to lack of proper coordination between the consultants or the mistake of a consultant, if they add a chart of account and do any transaction, they can't revert it back again. Okay. Suppose here I want to use MRF chart of accounts. Okay, and somebody told that I mean somebody didn't gave the consultant that you can use some other chart of account like ABCD chart of accounts. Okay, I gave the ABCD chart of accounts here for this because some people will maintain shared chart of accounts. If they have 8 legal entities, for 4 legal entities they will have one chart of accounts. Other 4 legal entities they will have another chart of accounts. Okay, if I'm creating another ninth legal entity and I told him to use another one chart of accounts, which is used for first group of legal entities. And later I mean I realized that it's wrong and I should use the second chart of accounts which is used for other group of legal entities. Then by that time everything is gone. I mean the transaction will be posted and everything is gone. So again you have to start from scratch, create a new legal entity. Then you have to create, I mean, you have to add the same, all the details once again to that legal entity. And then you have to post those transactions and that legal entity that you have created and added the chart of account previously, which is wrong, you have to disable that or, I mean, stop using that legal entity further.
So will that have an impact on like
That will
business?
that will not have any impact on business, but that will increase the clerical work or that will increase the work of a consultant only. And you have to face the dissatisfaction from the client if you do mistakes. Okay.
Thank you.
So always be careful while you add these things in a production legal entity. Okay, in UAT you can add any and you can delete. I mean in the test environment, but when you do it in the main operations or production environment, you have to be very careful. You have to recheck it twice and thrice.
So is
Okay.
it just the functional consultant who rejects it, or even a person? There might be a person who is there to ensure that at least
No,
these things are taken care of.
nobody will. I mean, other people will not have a look, but as a functional consultant, if you're given the task to configure all these things, you will do that. Someone who is above you will anyway verify it or re-verify it, or you can only coordinate with your team to re-verify if they can identify any mistakes or anything. So this always happens in every team in implementation.
Acha, thank you.
Okay. And we have this concept of balancing financial dimension, which most of them will not use. I see no one using this balancing financial dimension option actually. This is when they don't like to maintain multiple legal entities. Suppose they don't maintain multiple legal entities. They'll create the legal entity names as financial dimension and they'll do the transaction. So whenever they want to do transaction for one legal entity, they will select the main account and the legal entity code first, along with the main account as a financial dimension value. And they will post the transaction. So that's a very different way of maintaining. I mean, most of them or none of them will actually opt for such kind of practice, but there are some ERPs wherein they maintain this kind of practice. So when they are migrating from that ERP to Dynamics, sometimes they might require that. I mean, they might ask us to have same kind of requirement here in even in Dynamics even. So they will maintain only single legal entity. Okay, but they will have other names or categories in the dimension. They'll create it as dimension, and whenever they do any transaction, they will link that main account and that particular company's code or the dimension value for that company code. So in that case, we use this balancing financial dimension to balance the amounts from one dimension value to other dimension value. So here you select the financial dimension that must be balanced in all accounting entries, sorry. So in that case only we will use, but do not bother about this. Nobody will ask in interview also about this, or neither of them use it in business. Mostly they will not use in business. Okay. So these are the things. So if at all we configure all these things, we can do transactions now in Dynamics. So there is one more thing to configure. Actually, it's called journal name. We'll see that concept too tomorrow. But these are the basic things until here what we have done. So here also some accounts are there. Account for currency revaluation, realized gain, realized loss, unrealized income, unrealized loss account. We'll see this topic again. We'll have to definitely configure these accounts if we are doing foreign currency transactions. Okay, without these accounts you will face a lot of errors, so we will configure them also, but we'll configure it lately. Okay, so let me know if you have any more doubts in this page. We'll stop it until here for today. Tomorrow we'll see about journal creation and number sequence creation. If you don't have any doubts, we can drop off. If you have any, you can ask, no problem. And I have something to say again. Okay, whenever somebody asks you what is the basic setup for creating a transaction, until I mean, what are the basic setups that you have to do in order to post a transaction in Dynamics? You have to say all this. First, you have to create a legal entity, run the number sequence, then create a calendar, create currencies. I mean, ensure that you have currencies and currency exchange rates. Then create chart of accounts, main accounts in the chart of accounts, financial dimensions, account structure, and the most important is come and link everything here in the ledger page to the legal. Okay, and there is one more setup, actually journal name, that we will discuss tomorrow. I mean, until that journal name you have to say.
Sir,
These
one
are the,
second.
so that's all what we have discussed actually in the entire course until now. Legal entity, creation of legal entity, generation of number sequences, calendar, fiscal calendar design, currencies, currency exchange rates, chart
Can
of
you show
accounts.
on white paper, sir?
I mean, I didn't get you, Shiva.
You can put it into word located.
Yeah, okay, no problem then. I can do that. Legal entity creation. Then I have it in the course content. No need to write it all down here. Sorry for that, but I have it here.
Okay.
Legal entity creation, number sequence generation, fiscal calendars, currency mechanism, exchange rates, then chart of accounts, main accounts, financial dimensions, account structure, and creation of journal names. Until here, at least you need to have. I'll keep it here and I'll try to design it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So let's remove this. So these things, few things we have. So this is also not needed. I mean, these are the basic things that we have to configure before we create any transaction, or if at all we have to create and post any transaction, we should definitely have all these things configured. Understood?
Yes.
So we have done it until here. I mean, in this step is ledger setup, right? So it will be here. We have done it until here. This we will do tomorrow. And if time permits, we'll do a transaction tomorrow, and later or else next day we'll do a transaction. Okay. All right, guys. Any doubts? Sushila, Saideep, Naveen, anybody?
Still now, no doubt. Actually, while creating the financial dimension, I got an error. So
What?
tomorrow we'll share the same.
Okay. Fine then. We'll see it in tomorrow's class then. Okay.
चलो बाय.
Bye guys.
Take rest.
Bye.
Yeah. I'll do that. Thank you.